This is episode 3, getting in the routine of making a smoothie.
Today, what we're going to do is actually show you how we make a smoothie. But before we start, we'll talk about why we're picking smoothies and why they're so good for us. They're good for us in a lot of reasons. And the reason is it's great to get in that habit because I do believe, like some of my professors and some of my teachers taught me, we are overfed, yet we are undernourished. So this is getting us in the habit of ingesting those good fruits. We can slip in some of those superfoods that honestly sometimes it doesn't taste great, but we don't know it because we'll slip it in. We could even give it a chocolate flavor for chocolate lovers out there. And you wouldn't even know the difference because people go, I don't like dark chocolate. It tastes like milk chocolate when we add it with the fructose of the actual fruit.
Now there's 2 sizes for a smoothie. If you're by yourself, you're going to want to do this one. If it's two people, you're going to want to do this one.
Do not make the mistake of when you start out with the smoothie. I've had clients make that mistake when we start them off, and they'll be doing this, and they're wondering why we're not hitting some goals in a month or two, until they finally say, well, I'm using that big one I got with it. No, the small one is for just one. So if I came back from a run or Sienna was just making it, she would use the small one. But today, we're going to use the big one because it's going to be Sienna and I. And what we start with first?
We'll start with the banana.
Okay. Now that is a frozen banana that we pulled out from our freezer. What we do is we actually say I would pull it out before I went on a run. And then what we would do is we would just put it in like that. Okay? Sometimes I just cut one end and squeeze it as in like a tube and it comes out. That's also a great way to save those bananas that go bad instead of throwing them out. You can put them in there, skin and all. And you can use them as flour for baking, which we'll do maybe in another episode with banana cookies. Let's go with the next.
Strawberries. And you want to leave the green part on because there's not a lot of vitamins and nutrients.
Yeah.
Nutrients.
Okay. And why we leave the stems on. Some people say, why do you leave the stems on and the leaves? Some of these are either fresh we get at the store and then we freeze them. Because certain times of the year you're going to notice when you go out to the grocery store and you start looking more, there's certain times of the year where certain fruits and frozen fruits are cheaper or more expensive. So certain times of the year I'll get the fresh fruit, rinse it off with water and freeze it. But don't bother taking those leaves off from the strawberries because they're actually edible and there's actually nutrient value in those.
Next we're going to do the blueberries.
You will also notice on the cups, well at least on our cups, there's a max line. I don't know if you could see that there. Maybe. There's a max fill up. And that's what you want to, fill it up to. Don't put the fruit any higher. It needs all that. Then what we're going to do is we put a little on the bottom of the first liquid because if we start throwing in any of these powders, and then I'll explain what each powder is and what it does, but if we throw just a powder, it'll stick there. So what you want to do first is you actually want to put a little bit of
juice.
Yep.
This is tart cherry juice. I think it's really good. It has a nice cherry flavor. So.
Yes, and it actually has a good medicinal benefit. It is one of the best anti-inflammatory drinks out there. So if someone suffers from stiff joints, arthritis, or if I'm coming after a run, I will put some of this. It also is a good source of melatonin. So I do have clients that at night, they'll do almost like an ounce or two, a little bit of this, and it puts them to sleep, or at least it calms them down.
There you go.
But with us mixing it with the sugars and the fruit, it won't have that effect. But if you did it alone, you would feel that. Okay, then next, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our protein powder. Okay, this is hemp protein powder. Okay. This is no additives, and the stuff that I've noticed too about the plant-based powders, there's always less ingredients than all the other ones. Okay, less fillers, less stabilizers, all that stuff. Okay, it's gone. Okay, all the additives, everything. When you go to pea protein, hemp protein, it's also more easily digestible. Okay, so, and it's, you know, you get all your amino acids too when you mix it all around too. We will be throwing actually some animal proteins in here though too, I'll show you. But I try to throw all the amino acids.
Usually they come with a scooper, and depending on what your likings, what your taste buds are used to, you want to put that much in. So,
one scoop, yeah. Because tell them at the beginning you didn't really like that.
It was gross at the beginning, but then I got my taste buds got used to it, so I liked it.
Yeah. And that's also the reason why we're starting, save that, because we're going to use them for the other superfoods. There you go. That's why we're starting with a fruit smoothie. Because I do have clients, or myself sometimes, I do a green smoothie. It feels great, but we have to wait for taste buds to change. Okay, because at the beginning, it has to taste good. You want to get in a routine of doing it. And it's still better than anything. I mean, a fruit smoothie is still better than no smoothie at all. But I could get a lot of my clients to actually get in a routine and like it because it tastes so good.
Now, this is my favorite because it tastes like chocolate. It's cacao powder.
Yes. And if you tasted it, like, watch. Here, take a, like, yeah, watch. If you tasted it, it's kind of bitter. It tastes like grandma's old cacao powder. And the way you say it is cacao. Almost like how Ellen says cacao. You know. That's what it is. But it's actually a Mayan superfood from down in South America. Yeah, that's a nice amount there because I love the chocolate.
You put about 3/4, maybe a half to 3/4 in, right?
Mm-hmm. And you could put a little bit more in because it is a big one for 2. And believe it or not, it doesn't get that bitter once you put the fructose of the fruit in with it. And your milk or milk alternative creams it up, and you go, oh, it tastes like milk chocolate.
Now the next is the maca powder.
Yep. Now this is for some energy. This gives you energy. There's also antioxidants in it. It's another one of those superfoods, and actually it has like a vanilla taste. If you did that and you tasted it, kind of has like a little vanilla. It's not like it wouldn't give her that same face as the last one.
How much are you gonna put in here? About a scoop?
About a half a scoop, I would do. There we go. That's a good amount. Nice. That's good. Put it in there, yeah. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Then, we're almost done. We have one more thing here to do. And these are actually whole hemp seeds. And why I have a big bag like this is I keep this in the fridge. But I could put it on top of salads. I put it in soups already. And now we're going to actually put it in a smoothie. And when you let it blend up, it actually crushes up. And it gives it even a nutty flavor, which is nice too.
And there's a lot of omegas in it too. So
yep.
It's very good for it.
We have omegas 3, 6s, and 9s in this. So, yeah. Oh, that's real good.
About
half a scoop there.
Yeah.
And I show them the size of that scooper there just so they know what we're using. It's just, you know, your average scooper.
Compared to my hand. There you go.
And then last what we're going to do, okay, because I feel the need for some of my probiotics, is we're going to add in some kefir. Okay, that is the correct way of saying this. But of course, I talk to my clients a lot, or we call it
Kefir or
kefir. Milk. But actually, the real way is kefir. It rhymes with career. That's how it stuck in my head when I learned. But it has over 12 probiotics in it. So it's like a super yogurt. Now, you can also put in your milk alternative then, and I'll show you then. Okay, and we'll even throw some of that in here.
How much did you put in?
I actually put in about 3 to 4 ounces was left at the bottom of this bottle. And then we already put in about 2 to 3 ounces of the tart cherry juice. And then we're going to top it off a little bit.
With some milk based on pea protein.
Yep, so it's another plant-based.
So,
And for the strict vegans out there or strict vegetarians, you could just use this instead of the kefir.
about 1 ounce.
Just 1 ounce. Just she put it in enough to get it up to that max because we ran out of the kefir there. But now what she's going to do now is put the top on here, and then she's actually
Gonna stick it in our nutrients. I'm gonna blend this for about a minute to a minute and a half. You want to get all the nutrients and vitamins mixed up inside. this. I was cleaning up, as you could tell. Now I'm going to pour this in, and in a week you can get about all this done in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to pour this in here now.
So, we'll see you next week.
Tastes great.